Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to the Accursed. Not on my usual Monday. I've posted a video about the world below this week, as hopefully you will have seen. Instead, we have a Wednesday release. And on this Wednesday, we're talking about the Curseborne Fiction Anthology, Accursed Tales. Why are we talking about a fiction anthology on my YouTube channel? Well, there are many RPGs that release fiction. And much of that fiction is great. A lot of that fiction ain't. And sometimes it's very much in the middle. One of the things I love about fiction anthologies, and especially this one for Curseborne, is how you get a wide range, not of quality, but of subject matter. The genres, the kinds of characters, the different lineages and families that appear in these stories, whether they explore liminalities or monsters or more mundane but insidious threats, all of this is presented in the Curseborne Fiction Anthology. And I've always thought fiction anthologies are great ways of introducing people to worlds. Back when I used to read a lot of Vampire the Masquerade fiction, interestingly, again, and Vampire the Masquerade fiction very much varied in quality, but one of my favourites was, I think it was The Beast Within, I want to say, which was a short story collection, because it allowed you to get several bite-sized chunks of different character journeys. You got to see the lives or existences of different clans and how they were set up. And I think what Accursed Tales does for the Curseborne RPG is that in spades. It does it magnificently. It has a brilliant lineup of authors who I'll cite now. There is Richard Lee Byers, David Castro, Hiromi Kota, Joshua Allen Deitch, Linda M. Evans, Kimberly Godwin, Michele Marsala, Spider B. Perry, Lauren Roy, Monica Specker, Francis Stewart, and Melissa Wong. Now, why this lineup is important, why I'm crediting them, isn't just because it's fair to credit authors. It is. It's because these are authors who have worked across a wide range of the RPG industry, but also a wide range of fiction. I could point at Richard Lee Byers in particular, in fact, and say this is an author who has written a lot of game fiction and non-game fiction. If you just search out Richard Lee Byers, you will see a long list of credits. But you'll also find authors there who are mostly known for their work in the RPG sphere. So that means you have some stories that are more role-play-centric, I suppose you could say, and others that are more, I guess, true fiction, if you will. Now, one of my favourite stories in the Curseborne Fiction Anthology, Accursed Tales, is Guilty by Design by Kim Godwin. Kim is someone I've been working with now for several years. I have always found her to be an absolutely amazing author. And when it comes to horror, she comes up with some really terrifying material. I know there's a lot of fans of Curseborne who have really enjoyed Painful.love, one of the adversaries in the core book, and that was one of Kim's inventions. And in fact, you can go to that website now if you like, Painful.love. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Now, I wanted to read an extract for you by Kim for her story, Guilty by Design, to hopefully whet your appetite. And if you are interested in picking up Accursed Tales, maybe you will click the link in the video description below and see how the story ends. Guilty by Design by Kimberly Godwin. "What do you think?" Ben asked expectantly as he watched Aurora through the video feed. Aurora cradled a small open box in her hands, raised so he could witness the unboxing. Her eyes shone as an awestruck smile spread across her face. "It's lovely," she began, pausing with an embarrassed chuckle. Her cheeks flushed pink. "What is it?" She carefully lifted a long, thin gold band, free from the packaging, and held it up to the light, admiring the way it glinted. "It looks like a headband, but nothing with Ben is ever as it seems." "Well," He shyly scratched his neck. Just between us, he leaned in with a conspiratorial whisper. It's something special. I thought it was the perfect second anniversary gift. Aurora giggled. That's totally not an answer. She brushed her fingertips over the headband's surface, marveling at the raised etchings across its face. Her green eyes flicked up as she carefully placed the band on her head. Whatever this is, it's pretty. Well, I read about those couples' toys, They're supposed to do, haptic feedback when one person uses it, so it's like, we're, having sex with one another. He blushed. Oh, Aurora blinked. Is this supposed to go? No. Ben shook his head and waved his hands. This is something different, something special. It's a prototype. Think of it like a super high-tech VR environment. It works best if we're both wearing one when we're sleeping. She let out a soft breath as her back hit her chair. The possibilities this device created flashed through her mind. Like that thing in the Black Mirror episode. That's how does it work? He scratched his neck again. A dumb grin spread across his face as he tried to find the right words to explain. You just put it on, and I'll put mine on, and then when we dream, we'll enter the same shared dream environment. It's supposed to feel like we're together. Is that too weird? Aurora coughed, looking away from her computer screen. No, she admitted as she looked back at him. She felt an overflowing warmth as her gaze met his, even if they were separated by hundreds of miles across the world. For the moment, it felt like they were talking together in the same room. The idea of them being able to feel even closer made her heart race. It's really amazing. I get to look forward to my dreams. Ben let out the breath he had been holding. Relief flashed across his face before a sly half-grin replaced it. Great! Do you want to try it tonight? Aurora chewed on her lower lip as she stole one last look at her phone screen. Sweet dreams. Heart symbol. See you soon. Ben's message flashed across her notifications, but she couldn't help but feel like she was getting her hopes up to be dashed when reality settled in. She stroked an etching on the headband, her fingers impatiently tapping on the reflective surface. For a moment it felt warm, but then the sensation was gone. Don't be too disappointed, Aurora. It's a lovely thought, but just don't get your hopes up, she gently reminded herself. She took a deep breath and slipped the headband on. She placed her phone on its cradle by her pillow and settled down beneath the covers. I want to see him, she murmured, as her eyes fluttered shut. A kaleidoscope of colours danced across Aurora's skin as she flew across a clear midnight sky. Lights danced above her, an absence of stars. The world felt vast and yet constrained. Her body tingled as she breathed in sweet-tasting air, and a pleasant breeze brushed across her skin. She wasn't sure where she was going or how far it was, but she followed the sensation of something calling to her. When the call stopped, she alighted in a field of azure grass that tickled the bottoms of her bare feet. The living illumination swirled above her in time to her racing heart. What is this place? She knelt, brushing the palm of her hand carefully over the grass, marvelling at the softness. Her hands shifted to personal inquiry, tracing lines across her arms. Her flesh felt solid and warm. It feels so real. She stretched her hands out in front of her and looked at her body. She saw it in all its familiar imperfections, every birthmark, those stubborn deposits of pudge that never budged no matter what she did or how far she ran. She was surprised that instead of being naked, she had materialized in this place in a white cotton dress. She let out a low whistle. The space was vast, but as she looked around, there were only the bending blades of grass and the dancing lights to keep her company. In the absence of even the sensation that something had beckoned her, that familiar anxiety bubbled up in her belly. Is he going to stand me up? He wouldn't do that, would he, after all of this, on our anniversary? Where are you? She softly asked the wind. Crack. She jumped. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end as she slowly turned to see what could have possibly made the noise. A figure in white blurred into her line of sight, getting rapidly closer. She stumbled back, feeling uneasy. I don't like this. Aurora, the wind softly called. She retreated, her body tense as sweat beaded across her forehead. I need to run. Can I get away in time? Her back crashed against something solid. Her body jolted upright and stiff. Hands grabbed her shoulders from behind. She yelped, her eyes widening in panic. Hey, Jumpy, Ben's voice soothed. It's me. His breath tickled her ear as his large hands gently rubbed her arms in a calming motion. Aurora sharply smacked him, glaring at the handsome sheepish face, staring back at her. You scared the crap out of me. Ben raised his hands defensively. You didn't respond when I said your name. Didn't you hear me calling you? No. She frowned with a sigh. I didn't. Maybe it's some sort of lag? Maybe. He shrugged, wrapping his arms around her, taking a bold step forward. He felt solid and smelled of the bright juniper cologne she recognized as the one she had bought him for Christmas. Aurora relaxed against his chest. Do I feel real enough for you? He shyly asked. She returned his embrace, her pulse no longer racing after the fright. She glanced up and truly looked at him. Her heart fluttered as she recognized his hazel eyes, blondish stubble on his chin that she had wished to see up close for the 2 years they'd been dating online. She suddenly felt bold. If this is only a dream, I can let go and enjoy myself. I want to push the limits of what this simulation can do, she smiled, pressing up against him for a kiss. Now, that is where we are going to conclude story time, boys and girls, because, well, you should pick up A Cursed Tales yourself and find out what happens to the lovely couple of Aurora and Ben. I'm sure nothing bad whatsoever will occur. Kim is very, very good at writing this kind of virtual web-based horror. And, yeah. I'm not going to spoil it, but I very much hope you pick Cursed Tales up and read it. And most importantly, if you do read it, if you do pick up a copy, do leave a review, do leave a rating. Let us know what you think over on drivethroughfiction.com. There is a link to the book in the video description below. Please pick up a copy. It's available in print, in PDF, and EPUB versions. So however you like to digest your fiction, there is an option. And in the meantime, do have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you very much for watching. I will be seeing you next time.